Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the DJ Sessions Presents the Virtual Sessions. I'm your host Darren, and right now I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and my guest coming in all the way from Los Angeles, California. I hope I get this right. It's Joachim Garraud.
I give you a 8 on 10. Good start, Darren.
Thank you so much for being here today. Looks like we got some liveliness in the chat room right now. Christophe DeVoe. And then
you're gonna have some people who are gonna speak French because I'm French. So I just want to say to all Space Invaders from France, speak English, guys. Today we're gonna do 100% English.
Thank you for that one. Speaking of Space Invaders, let's jump right into that. What is this Space Invaders theme? Because I grew up in the 80s, played a lot of video games. And I was going through your website, through your socials and everything. And I saw the one picture. I mean, there must have been a few thousand, thousands of people. And they were all wearing the Space Invaders mask. What is that all about? And I want to give a shout out to those that are here, that are part of that.
Back in the 2000 when I started DJing again, because I have, I'm pretty old, so I had maybe 2 or 3 different life as a DJ. I can say vinyl life DJ, funk, Fat Larry's Band, Kool and the Gang, this kind of thing on vinyl. Vinyl. Huh? And then in 2000, I had a new life start with the French Touch movement, and I was lucky to have a recording studio in the heart of Paris, and I was lucky to produce a lot of people who were identified as the French Touch beginning, like Bob Sinclar, David Guetta, Cassius, or many different people. And then in 2000, when I started to go behind the desk and to start to play my techno music, because I was very techno DJ, I was looking to be identified not as a visual DJ, but I was looking to get the logo or to get, identification by something I really in love with. And video games and Space Invaders was really what I loved the most. I really loved the no religion, no race, no sex. It could be a man, a woman. We don't care. And so I decided to use this as my logo and signature, and don't use my face. And that was really something common in the 2000. Remember, for example, Daft Punk. They was not using the face. They were using this kind of, you see behind me, this kind of emblem. So so that was something I was really in love with. And I was really using the Space Invaders logo was really in phase with my music. Mm-hmm. Very, a little bit rough, a little bit techno. And I really love that. So I'm still, and then that was, so I decided to do this. And I remember 2003, I did the first gig in Paris for a big festival, and I was wearing for the first time Space Invaders on my T-shirt. And then the 2 weeks after, I've seen in the crowd 10 guys wearing the same logo, because I dropped the logo. I redesigned the logo and I dropped the logo on my website. And then that was such the first community movement in France around electronic music, and I was identified to this.
Now, when you get into the studio, does it feel like you're in a spaceship? We're going to take a look at a few of your studios here. I got one queued up. I got your LA studio queued up, but I saw the other ones, the New York studio.
Yeah, the New York one. It
feels like you're in a spaceship.
Yeah.
It looks like you're in a spaceship.
Yeah. So, let's say I really try to focus on the location where I am. As a music producer, I'm very sensible about the light and also about everything around me. So this is crazy to say that. But for example, when I'm in New York in the Spaceship Studio, and you're right, the name of the studio is Spaceship because it's designed
I didn't know that.
So that was perfect. This one where I am today, LA, is very laid back studio. Mm-hmm. California style.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead
yeah,
just
that's the one. Yes, yes. And this is more home studio, like a regular studio,
Mhm.
And yeah, so but you're right. I'm very. I loved using different studio to get different feeling about regarding composition and production, and
Mhm.
also maybe later we're gonna talk about a very special one I just designed to go in the desert and really to be immersed in special place.
And I'm glad you brought that up because it's a great segue into what we're going to talk about. Because I
Yeah,
was just at Rave the Planet, and I don't know if you got a
yeah,
chance to go through our website and
yeah,
check
yeah.
out
I
our
know.
mobile studio that we have.
Yeah,
I built to do my show as the big glass box truck on the back with the concert grade sound
that's
system
good.
on it.
I love that.
And when I got out to Rave the Planet, I didn't know what to expect. I thought these floats were going to be floats. These were full on semi trucks,
Yeah.
double decker semi trucks. And I'm like, we could never put one of those in the streets of Seattle. It just would, maybe if you went one way with one, but that would be it. Not 8 hours driving around by, the
That's
Brandenburg
good.
Gate, that stuff. That was crazy. So I'm
The
like,
concept was amazing. Really.
yeah. And so coming in and going over, get my show notes ready for you today, you went and showed me this bus. And
Yeah.
I mean, this is like awesome. I'm going to pull up a video right now. If you want to describe this a little bit
Yeah.
about
Okay, for sure.
this here.
Yeah. So the project, the name of the project is LA Good Vibe, like Los Angeles Good Vibe, or in French we say La Good Vibe. And
Okay.
I was lucky to buy a 2009 Fleetwood RV, 36 feet long, and I was very lucky to go from scratch and to build a recording studio inside using solar energy to get unlimited energy, and especially to be able to go in amazing places we have around in the west side of USA. And
Mhm.
I want to talk about all the BLM, which is the Bureau Land of Management. And this is 280 million acres of free land. And you can go there, and you need to respect two rules. Rules number one is leave no trace, like Burning Man, for example. And rules number two is don't stay more than 2 weeks on the same place, on the same spot. If you just respect these two rules, you can go there and enjoy about amazing location and amazing spirit.
Thank you for that. I'm going to take a pause really quickly here for Christoph.
Yes.
Christoph, he says, for those who don't know who Darren is, could you please explain who this person is and especially translate for those who don't understand English?
So I'm going to translate in French if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, if you don't know Darren is very famous people who make so many interviews about a lot of DJs and producer. And if French people, the thing is, some of French people, they're not very English, comfortable in English. And that's why maybe if we are now using all the AI technology, you're going to be able to listen to all the interview made by Darren back in the day since these 10 years. I can say more than 10 years.
15 years?
15, yes. Yeah, so that was 10 years.
No,
So 15 years, yes.
You're right. With the AI coming into place, one of the things that I added to our website was actually obviously a translation tool.
Yeah.
So I think it can be loosely translated. If you see typos in there,
No, it's better and better, and
yeah. And then
it makes it accessible. We
want to go back,
yes,
and transcribe all our shows.
Yes,
and that way, when you switch it to another language, it's there. And I use some of them are just getting really awesome where they're making show notes for you. They're breaking it all down. I really like to see where that's going in the industry. We can talk about AI in the music world in a little bit. I'm sure you have something to say.
Yeah,
about
I have
that.
some. Yes.
But let's go ahead and take a look at this bus really quick and what you got here. This is amazing.
So you have the video?
I do. I do.
Cool, Darren.
Do it up right here.
Okay, yeah. So you see, this is a bus, and I was happy to pimp that bus and to do something cool. And you can see all the solar equipment on the roof. Give me an unlimited energy to go on planet Mars. You see, this is planet Mars. So I was the first before SpaceX to go on the planet March and to do recording session over there with all these rocks. And I'm very lucky to have this recording studio because I can go into special place, and you see from the roof, from the sky with the drone. We have some amazing footage because you are alone on planet March.
Yeah.
And then inside, this is a recording studio with not, I don't want to say basic, but everything comfortable, like screen, speakers, and AC, and everything working with solar energy. So you can stay there 1 week if you want. As soon as you have water, you're good.
I was going to say, yeah, it's water. Now, is this something you would have a trailer with that would tow, say, gear to sleep out there? Or is it sleepable?
I'm turning like a side-by-side vehicle, like a buggy, like a Can-Am buggy, which is crazy because you can bring this one into those locations, the BLM, and you doing like OHV. This is OHV. This is off highway vehicle. And you using this kind of vehicle to go in the mountain, to go to do some crazy thing, and back in the studio recording. And this is the first time I having a recording studio. I can be outside and having no noise, because those location, there is no birds, no insect, no life, no human for sure. But and then it means that you can be outside and you can play as loud as you want, or you can play zero if you want. Yeah, you can see some video from inside. And I have some French equipment like Focal, the speakers you see over here. Yes, this is a 3D video. And you know, I tried to make a very luxury design inside with kitchen, because I'm French, and food is very important, and this is one of the main thing. So we have a beautiful kitchen, and you see the screen in front of me. Can go back in the desk.
I don't want to see any of that. Yeah, get out the screen.
And now we're going to another chapter about. But that's the thing. So LA Good Vibe, if you want to have more information about this bus, go on lagoodvibe.com. Like
lagoodvibe.com.
In one word.
Awesome. Now here you mentioned, you know, is gear really that important when being creative? I mean, you have a beautiful studio. I'm going to try to pull up the studio in New York as well.
Yeah.
We got to see the LA studio. We've seen. Do you call it a mobile studio, or do you call it the bus, or the LA Good Vibe bus? What would you call it?
So, Name, you're right. When I start 30 years ago, that was impossible to do that, because mixer was like 10 meters long, and you have this tape, 48 tracks, was like, I don't know, a kilogram or ton or pounds. That was crazy. And all this equipment was super expensive, super heavy. That was completely not a nomad setup. It was impossible.
No.
And then since we introduced computer into the creating process and recording process with laptops, now we are completely off grid. We are completely nomad system. And now I'm just using my MacBook Pro as a recording studio, as a streaming platform right now. So I have only one device to do everything. So it means that you're right. Now you can do music with the same quality without having all this equipment around you. Now, depending on the project, for example, when I'm producing with a French artist called Vitalic is a very electronic guy. Okay. We are before starting the collaboration, we are choosing 2 or 3 different synth machine, and we say, okay, we're going to use only this, and then we are just focusing on these 3 devices. And when the album is done, we sold back the devices and we're done. And when we're starting a new project, we're going to start with something different. So depending of the project, sometimes I like to be surrounded by equipment like my Moog over there. It's depending of the kind of music you are doing. But right now, I'm working on a new album I'm gonna release next year, and this is a special Dolby Atmos mixing. So, and this is a special research and design, sound design album called OVP, like oscillation, vibration, and pulsation.
Okay.
And this is only research. So I'm using a lot of different texture, and for that I'm using old synth, special synth, and then maybe I'm gonna do some mixing in the bus in the desert to fit well with the Mars planet, this kind of music. But right now, in the first step of the creation process, I like to use hardware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. When I grew up in the 80s and my brothers were in a band, I talk about this quite often, and my dad had kind of lavished studio gear on a 4-track recorder, 8-track recorder, keyboards, synths, rack mounts. And when this gear came through back in the 80s, this stuff was coming from Japan.
Exactly.
And the manuals were trying to be translated in English. And if you didn't know what you were doing, you really couldn't make heads or tails of what was going on.
Yeah.
So it turned out a lot of experimenting, just button pushing. And making
you try, you move, you play with knobs, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And I do like that tactile feel, though, when you're playing with gear. I dabbled in music production very rare 25 years ago, where I got myself an MC505 and an SP808 by Roland. Yeah. And, that was nice, just putting them together in MIDI. And I had the sequencer here and I had this here. But then I started working for Apple a few years later and became a Logic trainer.
Yeah.
And once I got into the back end of Logic, I was like, okay, I'm game over. Because I used to play with Fruity Loops back in the day,
Okay.
Fruity Loops 3, I think it was. Now it's FL, FL.
Okay.
But still a great program, sequencer. And then you got all the plugins and everything you can do now. I have a 49. I got myself a 49 key, MIDI Roland keyboard, and now you get to play with everything.
No, it's I have to admit that right now you don't have to buy any equipment to make good music and to be successful. Mm-hmm. And so many plugins are doing the jobs very well. So right now I didn't get any hardware I was not able to reproduce with plugins. Mm-hmm. And when I worked with Jean-Michel Jarre, the French composer, this guy have maybe the most beautiful collection of synths, because he started in the 70s. Oh, wow. And then he had all the first AKS, all the first equipment. And this guy is doing a collection of everything. So he never sold anything. And then when I was working with him in his home studio, I was able to go in the basement and to see all this equipment. And every day I was taking one and take a headphone and just listen to it. And I remember there was I co-produced with Jean-Michel Jarre one album called Metamorphose, and then I was co-producing some shows, the Millennium shows and this kind of thing. And I remember testing all these different synths, and we were looking for, is there any plugins can do that? And in 2000, no, but right now, yes.
Yeah, I remember looking at, and when I went to Guitar Center to get that MC505 and SP808, that if you really wanted to do music production, you were going to get an AKI 2000, I think, and you had to get a computer to run it, and it was like a $5,000, $6,000 setup. It's like, what? Now it's, okay. Well, producing music, dance music, stands for synonymously spending countless hours behind a computer screen sculpting your beats. What do you do in your free time to stay fit?
The only solution is to merge your laptop on the treadmill. This is the only solution I found to still producing and working at the same time. Otherwise, you stay in the seat like this, 12 hours a day, and it's very hard to stay in a perfect shape.
Yeah, I have to definitely, when I take a break, I can't just binge watch shows anymore. I have to take my iPod up to the treadmill, and then I'll binge watch for an hour, hour and a half, and just do a nice 4.5 hour or 4 mile walk. Sorry,
no, man.
And just get moving, because I will sit in this desk in this studio for 10 hours a day. So I know how that goes. What do you prefer to do when you're taking a break from music?
Listen to the music. No, mais um, maybe I like to go in to discover new places like the one I showed you. Like I like to be impressed by the surrounding views I can have in this kind of location. So I like that. I like swimming. I like cooking. I like a lot of different things. But my number one passion is music. So let's say when I'm not producing music, I'm listening to some music. Even in you are in the bus driving, go to Grand Canyon. You have 8 hours. You can listen to music nonstop, like 8 hours.
And speaking of, now you're producing music,
Yes,
listening to music, but you also have a record label, Underground Music.
yes, I have. Yes. So sorry. Go ahead.
Is there a sound or a specific sound or genre that you look for underground music? Are you open to all submissions, or how does that
No, I'm
process
very.
work?
The target is very, very tight. I have to admit for that, because I want to be able to play the track when I'm on stage first. So I have to be able to be proud and to be sure about the dance floor impact. So you have to first this kind of the sound on underground music has to fit with my own DJ set. Then number two, the kind of music I'm looking for underground music is the kind of music I'm able to play in my own weekly podcast on the national radio. And this is a special, not special, let's say it's dance music, but electro. And I love listening some deep house sometime, but I'm not gonna play it. So I'm not gonna sign any track I'm not able to defend on stage.
That makes sense. We've toyed with the idea, or we've talked about it for the last few years now, of starting a record label with the DJ sessions.
Yeah.
And, like, how far do we open up that door? Do we only work with the DJs that we work with? Do we open up the door? Do we say we're this genre, or we accept these genres? And then who's going to listen to all these?
No, but you're right. There is so many labels right now. So it makes sense to have something dedicated for one style. And if underground music is the label of Joachim Garraud, it means that if you're gonna go on a festival, listen to Joachim Garraud's DJ set, you need to listen to the track he signed as a label manager.
What's the most important things that record labels should be doing for their artists, and are most of them nowadays doing a good job with that?
I think number one right now is promotion. Because everybody, when I say everybody, can release a track in a day. In one day, you go on Spotify, or it's so easy right now to release a song, and you can produce the song with your smartphone in 2 hours. So it means that there is I don't know, 1 million song a day. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think we're talking about millions. So it's something like that. So there is so many songs a day on all the streaming platform coming, that the only way to make the difference is to have good promotion. And the way I'm considering promotion is first to having the people who joining my label on stage with me when I'm doing a tour, or on my own festival. I'm owning a festival in Paris, Electric Park, which is one of the biggest electronic festival in Paris. So once a year, I'm trying to build a stage for new talent, and this is people from my label coming. And this year we were doing the festival June 15. I had 12 people on stage with me, and I was on the 12 people, 8 people, that was the first time they was doing a festival, and I was the first time they was playing in front of more than 10 people.
More than 10 people or
Yeah.
10,000 people?
No, mate. That was the first time they was playing in front of more than 10 people, because usually
Wow.
they're playing for their friends for 10
Yep.
people. But that was more 3,000, 4,000, thousands of people,
I just want to clear something up really quick. Christoph, I'm not a DJ. I just play one on live streams.
Yeah, okay. I see the question. Christophe
I
Deveau.
just wanted to get that out of. A lot of people get the misnomer that I'm a DJ because I do a show called the DJ Sessions. It's like, no, I work with all the DJs. I do interviews with all the producers.
Voilà, c'est un journaliste. It's a journalist, guys.
Yeah, that's all good. Is there something you'd like to say to new and up and coming producers to watch out for when it comes to making their career successful? You had touched on that in the video you sent over to me a little bit.
Yeah,
Just like to get that out to our DJ Sessions viewers as well.
Yeah, I think in the number one advice I really want to transmit to the new generation is to use your passion as number one motivation to do music, just to enjoy. It's amazing to be able to live by producing music, and I think the more passion you can introduce in your work, the more successful you're gonna be. Don't try to imitate or do any duplicate music because there is this new style on the radio, I'm going to do the same. No, don't do that. Do exactly what you feel the most comfortable you are, and every single pieces of music you want to release, you have to be proud of that, because that's going to stay 2, 3, 5 years, 10 years, and you don't have to consider your past work as bad work, So use your passion and be proud of everything you release.
Yeah, and you started at a really young age. You started at 17 years old. Is that correct?
Yeah, I thought when my first composition was I have 15 years old, 17 years old, yes, and I have 56 this year, so that was 40 years back in the day. So this year I'm celebrating my 40 years of a music producer, if you say producer, because back in the days when I was 16 years old, I was using a Texas Instrument TI-99, and this kind of computer was making only 8 sound, this kind of sound, and with this 8 sound, monophonic for sure, 8 beats. And I was able to produce something like 25 seconds maximum. So I'm not sure, but that was my first electronic music production.
Sounds about right where I would have been playing with something too. You know, like making Atari beats or something.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, do you believe that DJs should learn more about music theory, or does it really matter that much when it comes to making dance music?
It doesn't matter anymore. I have to be honest. I was lucky to have a classical music education at school to learn piano and drums and to learn how to read and write notes. And it makes some difference, because I can give you a small story. 6 years, 7 years ago, I was producing a remix for Beyonce and Jay-Z, the track called "Drunk in Love." So I was producing some remixes for them, and I was lucky to be introduced to those two people in their own studio in California, in LA. And then I was there, and we were a lot of different people. And so my agent introduced me to them, say, okay, let me talk. This is Joachim Garraud, blah, blah, blah. He met the David Guetta stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then Jay-Z considered me as a DJ. So he was not very excited about sharing some time with me as a DJ. But by luck, in the room, they had a piano. And then I was talking to this guy, and this guy said, okay, but what kind of music are you doing? So I went to the piano and said, this kind of, maybe you know this track. And I play a famous track from the David Guetta album. And the guy recognized first I was playing piano. And then I was able to maybe to produce some music, live. So maybe this kind of knowledge give me an advantage about the relationship because then after this small 20 seconds of piano, the level of conversation was different. We were talking between musicians. And I was not only a DJ who was playing record A to B and back to A, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'd say that kind of saved the day. I mean,
yeah. But now, to be honest, today,
yeah.
I don't know, but maybe 80% of the DJs are not. I don't have any music education. I don't know. I don't know exact numbers, but everybody can make music without having any music knowledge. You know, a computer, and especially right now, AI make a crazy job. So.
I think that was a great segue right back into that AI topic we were going to bring up earlier. What are your thoughts? I mean, you don't have to go in depth or a thesis on this thing. Your thoughts of, we saw AI come back in the art world, and you know, people were doing that, and now it's kind of entering into the music world, and even the video world, where I can throw up segments and it'll spit out a social video for me, you know. And
but I think. First, I'm using AI every day. I have to say every day, not only in the music thing, but ChatGPT 4.0. It's amazing help every day. It's helping me for a lot of different things. In terms of music, I found some crazy platform or crazy website to help you to produce music. For example, you just drag and drop a remix you start, and then the AI is gonna propose a B part or C part, and propose you a bridge to go from A to B. This is an amazing job, because you just have to understand that music is mathematical. It's a mathematical thing. So it's a very computer reset. We can say that computer reset way of making music. You can use the computer. And so AI makes a job, a very good job. Then a lot of people say just afraid of losing their job, and I have to say there is a lot of different jobs who are gonna be in danger. Yes, if you are, for example, a bass player, and you can be the best bass player ever, and you just do this. You're not composing, you're not producing, you're not on stage. You're just a bass player going to do studio session. I think your job gonna be dead in maybe already. It's already dead already, you know, because you can use a lot of things, can give you some bass line, you know. So I think we have to use this as a tool, as a great assistant, and maybe it's gonna replace some human work, human feeling, human sensation, and human vibes. I'm afraid of that, but you can't go back.
Yeah, that was the one thing a few years ago. I was at ADE and was talking about AI with a few people that were on the show, and they said that the one thing you're not going to be able to get with AI is soul.
Soul,
the soul of the music. And I'm like, okay, well, if you start tweaking and starts learning, then it isn't going to get that.
You're right.
Get that in. So just very interesting. I know a company up here in Seattle. It was a tool I think it's called Vibe AI. And what you do is I can go in, I can say, I want something that sounds like David Guetta. I want it to be house. I want it to be 124. And it'll go curate a playlist for me off of Spotify. And it's like, well, did you just make me a David Guetta mix? Or does that mean I'm going to sound like that now? And can I use that tool to go out and help buy my tracks or buy tracks if I was a DJ looking to put together a set list or something? I thought that was kind of an interesting tool to use.
It's working well. The only, I have two things to add on this topic. First one is, looks beautiful. Yeah.
It's been doing that a couple times.
I like to do that on this. But
does Peace work?
That's AI. Show me again. But okay, it's gonna come back. So,
I don't know.
Two more things to add. The first one is if you want to learn how to use AI in the music, I just recommend just one website, which is amazing because it gives you access to 6 new AI per day talking about music. In average, the name of the website is thereisanaIforthat.com. ThereisanaIforthat.com. Go on there, check it that, drop music, and then you're gonna see there is like 80 per month, usually new music application. So go there.
Wow.
And the second thing is you were talking about soul. I completely understand that, but sometimes in the music you just need efficient. And that's stupid to say that, but there's a lot of producer that just take care of getting efficient, having the drop at 17 seconds, and then having 130 BPM, and then having the right key. So they just using efficient, and they just want to have efficient job, you know.
Mm-hmm. Now, as we just talked about AI, technology does move very fast in electronic music land.
Yep.
If you could think of something that's not on the market today, but in your vision would be really amazing to be out there, what would that be?
Okay, so if I give you this, I'm just because I'm
turn
working,
off the mics and go to the side.
No. Because I'm working with a Californian company, and we're working on something very special about AI and music. But I can tell you what I have in my mind, because we have already a large advance about that. Mm-hmm. So the what's number one as a producer is I have a sound, I have a music, I have melody, I have a track, MP3. I just upload this track, and then I ask to the AI to give me the separate track in MIDI with the right sound. So it means that, for example, you send Depeche Mode, I don't know, Live in Silence, for example, and you want to have the bass line. So he's going to send you the bass line, the MIDI bass line, but with the right sound, and you can adjust the sound, more or less reverb, more or less cut of frequency. So if you can do that on multi-track things, it's going to be crazy, because it means that you're going to be able to have access to thousands and thousands of material come from the past, for sure. Because the only thing of, AI, they just recycle, and they're just learning from the past. They don't create the future. They just do a big recycling machine. So that's it could be something not working right now perfectly, but if somebody or a website can offer this kind of function, they're gonna make a huge hit for music producer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Excuse me.
Sorry, this is a little bit precise, huh? But you asked me for some details.
If you could go back 25 years in music history,
yes,
or forward 50 years in music future, which would you go back to, knowing what you know now? Which way would you go?
That's a very So I'm gonna do a French answer.
Okay.
The French answer is say I want to do both. Why? Going back in the past 25 years ago, just to enjoy about having a real bass player, a real drummer, large session, and something exciting about human collaboration between people. Mm-hmm. And then I'm gonna back 50 years of 25 years and 25 years in the future to be curious about what's going on with the music, with only machine and only robots.
And have you ever done anything in virtual reality? Or are you looking to do anything of with the future of a virtual concert or virtual production could be, and the encompassing experience with that?
I'm a little bit lost with this, because I try to work with Jean-Michel Jarre about virtual thing, because he produced some virtual shows. It means that he was into Versailles Castle for real. And then because there is only 200 people can go in the room, and then they produce a special 3D virtual concert for Outward. And I'm not very excited about that. I think sometimes it's better to focus for a show for 200 people only, that's going to be only 200 people, but those 200 people, they're going to live. They're gonna have something crazy and unique.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Maybe you can introduce me to people gonna convince me to the opposite. But today I'm not very seduced by the idea of doing this kind of virtual thing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I thought that Meta with their new headsets would come out and kind of hit the market as the Atari or the Nintendo or the Sega or the PlayStation. But it just the entry level, some of these higher end headsets, it's just they're $1,500 headsets. Then you need a decent computer to run them, and I don't know anyone that's going to go buy their 10-year-old, spend $4,000 on a virtual reality headset for them, and then they just leave it and it sits there and collects dust. The kid doesn't get into it, and play it, and use it. So
yes, you're right. But I have to add something more about this kind of situation. There is a French company called Virtual Clubbing, and they're French. I know them very well because they asked me to do some recording with the 3D camera into my shows or festival. And those people, they are proposing for everybody wants to subscribe to their website to be live into Tomorrowland, and you using your Hamlet, your virtual 3D glasses, and then you can watching left and right, and you are in the middle of the crowd, and you have a famous DJ in front of you playing some music. So maybe it's a way to assist post event to event you miss.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I try it. I was not very I was not very excited about the experience for now. But with the app, for example, I test the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah,
and this is crazy. The frame, the beautiful pictures. It's crazy. It's like real world. But in the other hand, it just make me scared about the future, because if everybody gonna use this, you're gonna stay in your home. I'm gonna stay here in my bed, and I'm not gonna go outside anymore.
That was one of the biggest things we heard, obviously, during Pandy, that people were going to not want to go out. They're going to want to stay at home. If you're streaming these shows live online, I mean, that's been a big, big one for me over the years.
Yes.
Of wanting to be in nightlife culture and taking cameras into the nightclubs and the bars, the nightclubs, to say, if you film this and put it on TV, this is back when I was doing broadcast television, they're like, people are going to want to stay at home and they're going to want to watch what goes on in the club. I go, it's a 28-minute show. We're highlighting the B-roll footage. We might be doing some interviews with people in the club. It's not going to make them want to stay at home and watch the show. It's going to make them say, I should have been there.
Yeah.
And it should be used as a 30-minute commercial for your business, rather than looking at it as a deterrent that your drink sales are going to go down or attendance is going to go down. And they still say this today. We wanted to do the first ever, this is in 2013. We wanted to take a DJ, and let's say you're in your studio in LA, and what we do is we would bring you and stream you live into the nightclub.
Yeah.
And then that way it's like you're only going into that nightclub. It's only one instance. It can't get out in the world, but you're doing that. And would that save on the cost of a rider? Would that save on airfare? Would that save DJ would still get paid for their performance, but you wouldn't have to do all the rider attachments to it because they're at home in their home studio. But nobody had home studios back then with video cameras and everything. So
I got some.
You got some
over there. Yeah. Did anybody try that already?
I'm sure somebody has had. Well, actually, back during Pandy in 2020, we did something here in Seattle.
Yeah, but right now,
I don't think anyone's doing it right now. I don't
because nobody like it.
I don't think anyone. Yeah.
They want to see the artist. To be honest, having somebody behind a screen or having somebody for real, that's not the same thing, no? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too old. But when I'm go to a show and I want to see somebody, I want to see somebody. I don't want to see somebody through a machine or interface.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Yeah, and that's where I think augmented reality is going to really have a lot of fun in it plays too. Once we get to the glasses, once it's it's not this big headset. You're putting on this augmented reality glasses, and you're going to be able to change the environment around of the nightclub you're in while the DJ's playing, or have your own have a light show that you can make your own light show.
Yes,
and everyone's watching a different light show, but the DJ is still playing and it's working somehow. I don't know. Maybe that's the technology that's
maybe.
Created.
But I want to answer to in the chat.
Yeah,
to,
go ahead.
LM Mike say, is there any way to ask questions? Please.
Absolutely. Yeah, type them in. I mean,
type the question.
You'll have to monitor the French side of things now. I can
make both French. You can stay in English because today. Sorry, Darren, I have to say some word in French to the French audience.
That's okay.
Alors, juste pour aujourd'hui, c'est une interview qui est en anglais uniquement, puisque c'est sur des canaux d'information américains et voilà. Et donc c'est pour ça qu'aujourd'hui je réponds qu'en anglais. Et donc on fera des choses en français. Le retour c'est le 5 septembre. Ok. Switch back to English. I said I'm gonna go back to French talk show September the 5th. It's gonna be in French, and I'm doing this every Thursday, so that's why.
Nice. You played a number. We were talking about events, nightclubs. You played many different festivals.
Yes.
In your career.
Yes.
Can you say you have a favorite one that you always like to go to? I mean, you have your one that you just mentioned that was just in June.
Yes.
And you know how you introduce the artist, but is there something outside of your own productions that you don't produce that you get?
Yes, I have one favorite. Yes, I have one favorite. I have to say it's American one, and this is one in Nevada called Burning Man, and it's this week. So it's right now. So I'm working to go there tomorrow to be at Burning Man Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and back on Monday. So yeah, it's my favorite one. Burning Man is my favorite festival. This is not really a festival like EDC or like Coachella or Tomorrowland, because this kind of festival is not only music. This is art. So it could be dance, it could be painting, it could be all the different arts. And but I have to say that as a DJ, going and play there is something unique because of the location. And we are going back to the beginning of this interview about location or surrounding around you. When I told you that be on the planet Mars with my solar recording studio makes you in different mind, drop you in something different. Look, so imagine when you have 70,000 people in the middle of nowhere in the desert of Nevada, Black Rock City. You have 70,000 people in a different minds. So those people, they are ready to dance with you. And I remember I made a set, maybe I don't remember which year that was, because I was lucky to go in Burning Man 10 times already. So that was, I don't remember which one, but I had a very long set. I played like 16 hours nonstop. And that was crazy because back in the day, I was playing a CD, So I have a huge book with a lot of CDs, CDKs, and I played all my CDs, 16 hours. But in my CDs, I had AC/DC, hard rock. I had some classical music like Mozart. But people that was there on the dance floor. So I was playing funky track, new techno track, everything. And people was for every track. And so that's why this is one of my favorite festival, because the location and the audience was unique.
I had to once tell somebody, I'm glad you brought that, the difference between something like EDC, Tomorrowland, those ones, and trying to explain to them, they were calling an event like that a festival. And I went to the Eclipse Festival in 2017.
Yes.
2017. I had never seen anything like that. I was used to going to your typical EDC or, Tomorrowland kind of experience. And I was talking with my friends who had been to Burn many times, and they're like, this crowd is a lot more Burning Man crowd.
Yes.
With the only exception was as they did have vending booths at this event.
Okay.
Which was kind of like, okay, is there commercialism here? Is there not commercial? They weren't selling Pepsi or Coca-Cola or anything like that, but they definitely had vendor booths. And I know that Burning Man has that. I don't know. What's the philosophy?
The philosophy is no advertising anymore.
Yeah.
No commercial use, no trademark, no logo.
Yep.
For example, you go there with your truck, rent a truck. When you just arrive in Burning Man, you just cover and you're doing rent a fuck. Rent a fuck is cool. Rent a truck, not. You know? So that's or for example, at Burning Man, you have the Google camp. Everybody knows this is Google, but there is no mention about Google. This is only the G camp, sometimes J camp, but nobody talking about that.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Who has been your biggest influence when it comes to your career as an artist, and why would that person be such a big influence?
I have to say maybe a French influence was Jean-Michel Jarre, about the shows, about synchronization light, about using outdoor as a stage, And as a producer, right now, I love Eric Prydz as a producer because I love his sound. I love his integrity. I love the way he's really introduced himself into producing content, visual content also. So so that's my maybe some influence. I have many more, but I have to choose those one.
Well, I saw a lot of the pictures of the people you're hanging out with. If you have Carl's number, can you please get me into his Rolodex somehow? I've been working on it for a long time.
We have some question coming. I love my job.
Yeah, we do. I wanted to get to those too before we wrap things up here. You'll have to respond to that. I can bring
about the language. Yeah, about the language of. I want to say that. Attends, Villa Bivona, attends, Ali, VJing, c'est un internet, sur l'amour de la scène électronique. Non, mais. And social media manager, love my job. Okay, so I don't understand exactly the question, but you want to talk about the difference between switching from French to English into your job or creation process. Oh. When I'm doing creation process, I don't think about this is in French or English because this is a mix. We are using the same machine, the same knobs, the same function. After that, if you call that synchronisation or synchronization, it's more or less the same. So I don't know how to respond to this question, but I'm not focusing on any language when I'm in the music process. Okay.
Yes. If somebody were to write a biography about you, what do you think the title should be?
The alien.
The alien.
The alien. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to answer, but I don't know. I like when people talk about me as a pioneer, because I remember back in the day when I started to be a DJ at 16 years old. We were just using tapes. There was like tape cassette. And that was before vinyl. And so I remember cross a lot of different period like vinyl, CD, cassette tapes, and then CD, and then MP3, and then Napster, and then all these kind of things. So I remember all those different layers,
I think I saw something recently. It was on one of the socials, and it said, "You want to know why our generation, yours and mine, because I just turned 50 on Friday."
Yeah.
So
wow.
Why our generation? Thank you. But why our generation got so pissed off about music is because we had to go from vinyl to 8-track to cassette tapes to CDs to MP3s and buy our collections all over again.
And now there is nothing. So that's why we are coming back to vinyl.
Vinyl. Yeah. A couple last questions here. If Hollywood were to make a movie about your life, who would you pick as the main actor?
Do you have to choose an American one?
No, anyone.
I never thought about that. Who gonna be able to play my life as an actor? You have to have the same morphology of myself. So I can't choose somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio because it's not that's not gonna be exactly the same look. Uh, maybe I can say Elon Musk. Sometimes people they say, "Hey, you look like Elon Musk,"
Okay. Okay.
but I'm not sure he's gonna be available to play my role. I can ask. I can ask. Elon, please, are you able to do the casting for me?
That would be awesome.
Yes.
That'd
Yeah,
be
we
awesome.
see more Elon Musk.
And we are going to be getting. Oh, go ahead. Did you want to take
No, no,
another
no. I
question?
see. I see. There is a question. There is two questions. One about the bus. Say, which gonna be the if you have the choice to having only one keyboard. I'm gonna choose this one, the Moog, the Moog 37 sub sequencer. I love this one. It's for making bass or lead sound. It's monophonic, but I love this one. So if I have to choose only one synth, I'm gonna take this one. That was a question from Vincent.
Is
No,
that's
in the chat.
NC Protector, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, NC Protector. No, it's not Vincent. You're right.
And I think there was one last one I wanted to get.
French Touch. They talk about the French Touch. Est-ce que ça représente la scène française? Actually, in France, we have a huge, not a controversy discussion, but there's a lot of discussion about Olympic Games celebration because we had this worldwide representation on the national TV and on the planet for I don't 2 billion of people was watching the show, and then during this representation we had search a scene with a girl in the middle of a lot of different people, and this girl was a DJ. And unfortunately, the Pioneer stuff was not connecting very well because you have like the two CD player was connecting on this same line, they're one in phono and one in line. So people was just say, okay, that's fake. Everybody knows that was fake. Nobody was playing. That was just during the show. Okay. But then they did the selection of music, and this selection of music was using one of my tracks. So I was very happy and very proud of that because they have chosen Just a Little More Love, which was, Love Don't Let Me Go, which was on a track I co-produced with David Guetta. So I was very happy about that. And but that there is this kind of controversy talk about, did they have chosen the right people to represent France as the French Touch? Because Daft Punk was not there. Yeah, Daft Punk was not there because Daft Punk don't exist anymore. It's done. So they're not gonna reform or come back just for one show. Even if this is the Olympic Games representation in front of 2 billion of people. So that was this kind of controversy thing. And I remember I read an article about David Guetta because David Guetta was surprised that nobody called him to represent France at the Olympic Games. And that was a strange situation,
Yeah, I do remember seeing the pictures and the memes about that. And I'm like, I hook up this type of gear all the time for my shows. And I'm like, I guess I just didn't look at it close enough because it looked like there were plugs plugged in. But you're right. I think you're right. Now that I look at it, was going into the same channel.
Exactly.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. And speaking of mixing, and we're going to be getting an exclusive mix from you as well, right?
Yes.
Awesome. I always love those exclusive mixes. We'll get that out there. Is there anything else you want to let our DJ Sessions fans know before we let you go?
Okay, but I want to talk about this baby.
Yeah, there we go.
So this baby is it's a vinyl. So it's Joachim Garraud and friends, and this is very important for me to have this kind of vinyl, collector vinyl. So we are sold out already. So sorry, I'm not selling anything. If you want to listen to these tracks, go on the streaming platform Joachim Garraud and friends. We have 16 tracks, and I'm very happy and proud about that because, as I told you, since the beginning of my career, I tried to help people and to give advices and to invite them to my own festival and to help to share my production process with a lot of people, to give them tips and tricks to be able to produce music. And then this album is very very important for me because that in the 16 track, I have more than 40 people who made the tracks, all those tracks with me, and we produce this track only during stream every Thursday night on my own channels, and I was direct live with all those people, and I was very proud to have all those people for the first time. They're gonna release a track. They're gonna be subscribed to the copyright agency SACEM, and this is great because for those people, 1 year ago they was completely unknown. Now they have one track with me on vinyl, and they were on stage with me on my own festival to play those tracks. So I'm very proud of this thing, and this is very the spirit. I love that the kind of feeling sharing, because at the end, DJ work is sharing passion, is sharing music. So with this, I really go to the top of what I can share. My time, my money, my music, my knowledge, everything, my connection, my festival.
Yeah, after talking with DJs, producers that have been in the industry for years, it was when you had something come out on vinyl, there was only a limited amount of release. There were only a limited amount of copies out there. It wasn't like you were getting a million copies. You were going multi-platinum with a record,
Yeah, you're right.
And I remember working in the music store in 1992 when I was 18 years old, and we had this little electronic music section.
Yeah.
And you didn't know where to put, you could find Enigma in there. You could find Deep Forest. You could find Tiesto and Superstar Kyoki.
Crazy. Deep Forest and Enigma. There was French and Belgium, from Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's good reference. Yes.
Yeah.
But you're right. But now electronic music is something like 30 billions of US dollar per year by counting about festival, merch, streaming, and everything. So yeah, now we move from underground to the main stage. But this is cool. I'm lucky to have this kind of vision, because back in the day, when I start to be a DJ, nobody wants to be DJ because I was in the dark. I was into the basement. Nobody can see you. My fee was less than the guy behind the bar, and my fee was less than the guy was the doorman. The doorman was making 10 times more money than the DJ. But what I liked the more was to share my music with people, even if nobody can see me, because I was in the dark and I was in the basement. But now, if you ask to the young generation what kind of job you want to do, DJ is maybe in top 5, because, and if you ask to the young generation, why you want to be a DJ? Because I want to travel private jet and I want to be in a hotel 5-star. I say, hey, come on, guys. It's a bad start, very bad start, a very bad answer.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that in that video that you made, and
yeah, maybe
a lot of people say don't go after the money.
Yeah,
if you're looking for the money, then yeah,
exactly. You're right.
You did mention $30 billion a year industry merchandise. How important is it for somebody to have a website, some type of merchandise, something that's actively on social media, all those things that combine together to make up their outward or their public, their PR, but how important is it to have merchandise?
But yeah, back in the day, nobody had any merchandise. Nobody had any logo. And maybe I was one of the first in France to make money by selling T-shirts with Space Invaders on the top. And today, it's like a rock band, Mm-hmm. But that's funny because the merchandise is not so merchandise. People buying still Rolling Stone, still Pink Floyd, AC/DC. This is crazy because even the young generation, they don't buy any Tiesto shirt or any David Guetta T-shirt, because this is something I believe a little bit strange with electronic music world. It's more like a rock or Coldplay. They're selling a lot of shirts, mm-hmm. or a lot of merchandise, but not DJs anymore. Maybe Fred again. I've seen this kind of newcomers. When I say newcomers, they're not newcomers anymore, but like Fred again or like Martin Garrix, they're selling a lot of things. But I think the old generation, they're not really into it.
It's one of the things I've told some younger DJs, local DJs here in town. I said, you get on the stage, you put your logo up behind you, and it plays for a few seconds and then goes to the visual, on the LED screens. I go, why don't you make a shirt and put a QR code on the front of the shirt? Or at least put the QR code on the back with your name on the front. And that way, when it's time, you can take that moment and turn around. Everyone knows what to do now with the QR code. And everyone's going to go,
Yeah.
and it can take them to your website, or it can take them to your Instagram or TikTok, wherever you want them to go to. You could have a different shirt for each show taken to a different social platform or something like that.
Yeah, you can do that, yes.
Just something to get a little bit more creative out there. But I think you're right. It's when I tell people, get your own domain name, get a logo. These things are not hard to get nowadays.
Yes.
I literally just made a whole website for a third company that I owned, completely based on AI text.
Yes.
Saying, write me this
so
text.
Easy.
And
make
it 500 words and focus on this keyword of a minimum of like 6 to 10 times.
Yeah.
And I made all like 7 or 8 pages for the site. I was like, okay, that was easy. So get a bio, come on. these quintessential things. But anyways, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
Definitely want to follow up with you. Absolutely. And thank you to everyone in the chat room that came on via Facebook, that came on via Twitch and YouTube. And thank you for the questions. We will get this episode up on the site here soon. I'll translate it as well to make sure we have it out there. But yeah,
look, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, because I really like your work, and you're such a passionate guys, and I really appreciate that. And I think that's what makes you so successful, because you're not lying. You're just doing what you like the most, and that's why you're doing a very good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's funny. A lot of people out there think I make $250,000. I've been accused of making $500,000 a year doing what I'm doing. I'm like, do you know that I was on food benefits and like had a broken back and going to surgery? Are you serious? No, you got to be real about it. But thank you again. We'll definitely be following up with you here in the next, we'd like to follow up with everyone in 6 months.
Okay.
And here we go.
But see you soon.
Okay. Oh, wait.
As soon as I'm gonna play. You're in DC, right?
No, Seattle.
Seattle. You're Seattle. Okay, no, because I have a show in DC in October. But Seattle, I have to organize a show in Seattle. You have to introduce me to a club. We can play techno or electro sound. Send me some maybe some contact, and we have to meet there.
Definitely. I know those people very well, since I've been partying in this town for 35 years.
Yes, I can imagine.
Best
everything.
Best place for people to go to find out more information about you. The first one
go on my website, joachimgarraud.com, or Instagram. Yes, you see it.
All right.
Perfect.
There we go. Website, Instagram.
Wow.
I like this platform, and Twitch. Wow. So technical.
Wow.
Just think of the days when you had to use OBS.
Yes.
I love OBS.
Well, thank you, Darren.
Cool. Yes, you have a wonderful evening, and we will talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
On that note, don't forget to go to our website, thedjsessions.com. You can find all our socials there, find our merch store, and more. We have over 600 news stories every month that get published. We're jumping up to have over 100 hours of content produced every month, interviews, exclusive mixes, and more at thedjsessions.com. Be so inclined to go to the Apple Store as well. Find our podcast there. Leave a rating, leave a review. We love getting those. But again, be sure to follow us on our socials for more updated information at thedjsessions.com. This is Darren, and that's...
Salut, Joachim Garraud était dans la place. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you very much, and y'all have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.